The question is, how do I cope with not wanting to talk about spiral dynamics anymore, considering that that's the name of my channel basically, and several people who are heavily involved in the creation of the momentum of the model have been keeping tabs on me. So what do I do about that? How do I perceive that? So the way I see it is, as I enter into stage Aubergine, right, the one before clear, which my hypothesis teaches is full on enlightenment, you're going to be going through the overmind. And that entails that you're not going to care about what stages anyone's at. Does one brain cell say to the other brain cell, I can't go through your passageway because you deal mostly with this part of the brain or that function and I deal with this? No. The interconnections involve many different pathways through which neurons can travel. So too, that's how I see the overmind. You're not judging which pathways do we use to figure things out. Everyone is relevant. But what that also means is that I don't care about spiral dynamics as a model anymore. I don't even want to think about it. But what that led to is it led me to not wanting to talk about it. And is that going to damage the model? Because I take more pride and interest in something like tarot cards, which are, which some people who are involved in the creation of the model are tempted to say that stage purple ideology and emphases, right? Whether or not they use me as a guide to wondering if it could be a higher grade of experience and emphasis that has yet to be seen. I personally think it does. I personally think once you enter into turquoise, you'll be more interested in the spiritual arena. Now, is tarot innately stage teal? That's a separate question. I think once you understand the way reality takes place is kind of both subjective and objective, and you also want organization and such that you want the cards to organize you instead of you organizing the cards, right? You want the universe to organize you, then the tarot would definitely be up there in a teal experience. However, most people are balancing out for stage orange stage in our society, and so the spirituality has been primarily non-dual. Non-dual spirituality is basically taking away anything that sounds like dualism, that sounds like old belief systems which were assumed to be dual, even if usually the founders were tapping into a non-dual state or a state of awareness. That is pushed aside for the sake of being non-dual. That is a modern day turquoise mistake, which is why I lead into saying that stage teal will be mostly dealing with the metaphysical ways in which reality gets created, knowing that you're also contributing to it in some fashion. But you're putting the control on the universe to guide you to create your own boundaries on what is true, which is why the tarot cards are creating my reality instead of me creating the tarot reality. Now, in stage Aubergine, what's going to probably happen, assuming I'm not there already, is I will have a full awareness that I'm creating it, and I will probably alternate between when I create it and when I let the universe create it, simply because I don't want to stay rigid to any one way of doing things. And I also want to help people as much as possible. But that could lead into deception. You're doing tarot readings, but you know that you're creating reality. Who are you to say when you should and shouldn't create reality? So that question will probably come up more. It has come up on occasion while I was doing tarot, but it'll probably come up more as you enter into stage Aubergine. In the future, there's probably going to be some people who are saying that all this metaphysical jargon, yes, you've reached stage turquoise, but you're not past stage turquoise. That's what some people may want to say. I had someone contact me that was accusing me of being primarily in stage turquoise. So I shouldn't, he knows who he is. He said I shouldn't be talking about stage Aubergine because stage Aubergine is some guy who has the ultimate non-dual awareness. So what Ken Wilber's probably going to do is he's probably going to create a whole category of like, okay, that's one way of viewing it, and the complexity of the model entails there are multiple ways of viewing it. So I'm not against that. I just don't, I stand by what I say, what I've been saying always, that this person is mostly in turquoise, and the same way orange likes to skip green, so too stage turquoise likes to skip coral. It's you know, there's a stage that's undesirable from the previous, and we like to skip it, so we tap into the higher stages and we slowly go back in time to make up for lost ground. You know, this person also believes that stage coral is innately depressed. That's also not true. They just have different priorities that in a specific setting and the way society views us, it could lead to what people would consider depression. It could make them appear bipolar or something like that, simply because they don't get understood by the masses. Well, anywho, the original question was, how do I deal with the fact that I'm just not interested in spiral dynamics anymore? If someone said, why don't you make any videos on spiral dynamics, I would make them again. But people don't generally say it. People show support, but they're not begging me for videos. I have an avid follower on in general. He probably watches my spiral dynamics videos, but I don't get enough requests to make specific videos on spiral dynamics, so I just don't do it. And I feel like it's a sign from the universe, and I also feel that I don't really need to. And I also feel like eventually, when I've advanced in stages, I will end up choosing that world. I will go back, you know, to the subject once in a while. Also, I feel that emphasizing spiral dynamics now, you know, when you're trying to enter into higher stages, might be the wrong thing to do. If stage Aubergine is about deconstructing the model altogether, so you want it not to make sense, like when you go on psychedelics, you want things not to make sense, or you know that you're tripping wrong. So that's what stage Aubergine's like. You just don't want things to make sense anymore, because if it did make sense, you know that you're thinking about things wrongly. So that's the experience of stage Aubergine as you're entering into it. It's like, I just don't like it. You know, I want things to be non-linear. I want things to be interconnected in a way that I can't predict, because that's the truth of reality. So that's kind of how they'll lean from what I grasp. So if I don't make spiral dynamics videos, that's why. Sometimes I randomly get excitement and I go and make it, you know, intuition. Sometimes I'm just feeling it, and that's why I'll make it. So there you have the subject of that. I hope you have a fantastic day and week.